right, welcome. I'm Miss McDonald and I teach in the math department. And we're going to be talking about some course offerings in the math department, or I'm going to be talking about that. And then I will talk a little bit about my experience in the math department. I will go ahead and let Mr. Bracamonte talk about it as well. And then we'll let the science department talk about their stuff. So that's kind of how it will go. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the chat. We have people sort of moderating the chat. And then we also have 2 counselors in here. So if you have any counseling questions, you can ask those as well. Okay, so just a little bit about me. This is my 12th year at Tucson High, and I really enjoy working here. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. Okay, so here are the freshman offerings at Tucson High, and this is all dependent on what your student is currently taking in middle school. So we have some students who take algebra in middle school, and therefore they would go into geometry when they come to high school. Some students are in 8th grade math, so they would go into Algebra 1. So it all kind of depends on what they are currently taking. We have had some freshmen who have taken a lot of math, a lot of high school credit math, and do come to us into pre-calculus. So all that is sort of dependent on where they are currently at. Okay, and in the chat, I'm going to place this link so you can kind of look through this a little bit more at your leisure. So you can see like what does your student specifically need to take. Mr. Fleming is going to talk a little bit more about AP courses just generally. And then these are the offerings after their freshman year. So I teach algebra, I teach freshmen. I've taught algebra all the years I've been at Tucson High. And then I also teach AP statistics. So that's a senior level class. And it's a class I really enjoy. I actually enjoy both of them, but I really enjoy AP stats because I feel like kids can see that being applied to outside of the school setting. And math gets that question, that dreaded question a lot, like when am I gonna use this in real life all the time? And in that class in particular, I can say, you can use it in real life. You're gonna use it in your workplace. You're gonna use it if you're going into research or anything like that. So there are a lot of things, more application-based courses that we have, not just my AP stats course, but as you can see here, we have things like mathematical finance, which Mr. Bracamonte has taught as well. Okay, just some general feelings about the department in general. Something that I love about the school and our departments in particular is how connected it makes me feel. So when I graduated from college, I went straight to Tucson High, and I've been there all 12 years. Well, this is the 12th year. And I think, again, that really speaks to what kind of school we have and what kind of department we have as well. So it's really unified. We really talk to each other. We help each other out. It's a very collaborative environment, and something that I definitely appreciate as a professional, and something that your students probably won't even see, but they'll appreciate the fruits of that. And something that we do that's kind of unique to us is that we all, every Halloween we get together and we think up a theme, and then we all dress up in that theme. And you can kind of see the image here. We dressed up as Disney villains a couple of years ago. So that's probably my favorite part about Tucson High, is how united I feel in it. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Bracamonte, and he's going to talk about his experience.
All right. Hi, I'm Mr. Bracamonte. You know, the beauty about the math department at Tucson High is the teachers that are in the department are as dynamic as the math offerings we have there at Tucson High. We have young, middle of the road, older teachers like myself. I've been there going on my 23rd year. And it's just a very supportive environment working in the math department. You know, I was asked, you know, what advice would I give to freshmen coming into Tucson High? You know, yeah, we have these math pathways, but at the same time, you know, check out all the clubs we have at Tucson High. There's a lot of things to offer in regards to mathematics and science. a few examples is the garden club that we have on the southwest corner of the campus there. We have the engineering club. We have a CDC machining club. We have Mesa. We have the Smash club. There's just a lot of things that a student could kind of check out and find maybe a passion in their life. And so getting back to all the math offerings, whether it's working statistics and maybe you go be a statistician for an insurance company, or if it's strictly engineering, or maybe the pathway of analyzing the operations of a company and finding out the break-even point in order to stay in business. These are all things that your son or daughter could, scratch around with at Tucson High. Hopefully they find something that they're very interested in, and it could lead to opening doors down the road. Every year you go back to Tucson High, I'm a graduate of Tucson High, but I would say the favorite things as far as my teaching experiences is that it's kept me young. We try to make it a fun time in the classroom and try to bring relevancy as to the perspective of a young person and, transitioning into adulthood, how it relates to their future. So just some key points about the Tucson High Math Department. All right, and that's my input.
Okay, great. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Fleming, and he's going to talk about the science department.
Thank you for that, Ms. McDonald. And I just need to press this button properly. So my name is Mr. Fleming. I'm the chair of the science department. And if you guys have any specific questions, you can drop them into the general chat. We have a couple science teachers here who can field those while we're going through the overview. And then you're going to hear from some of our teachers who focus on freshmen and one of our teachers who has more advanced offerings. So at Tucson High, we have a couple kind of standard offerings that freshmen can take and a couple that are relatively unique to us. In TUSD, STEM, Science and Sustainability is the standard 9th grade science course. And at Tucson High, we have conceptual physics, which is a step above that, and we are the only school that offers this class. It's recommended that you have previous high school algebra or high school STEM credit. Now, if your student has done a full year of math and science, then biology or general sophomore class is appropriate for them. And also we have AP Environmental Science, which freshmen can take if they meet the prerequisites as well, which gives me a chance to talk about advanced placement courses. The AP program is run by the College Board. They do the SAT and PSAT tests as well. And what an AP class is it lets high school students take an introductory college level course. There's a test at the end, and on that test, if a student scores, I teach AP chemistry, so if a student gets 50% of the questions right, they generally get 3 credit hours from any Arizona school. And if they can get 80 or 90% of the questions, get a 5 on the AP test, they can get 5 or 6 credits depending on what school they go to. So it does depend on the particular course and which college you're looking at, but most colleges will offer credit for a 3 or above on the 5-point test that AP has. And I always like to say this when we have prospective parents in, but Tucson High has more AP classes than any other school in Tucson. I really enjoy that. Now, after the freshman year, we have just a slew of science courses. I already talked about AP chemistry, but we have every level of chemistry from basic to honors and AP. We have earth and space science. One of our, or actually 2 of our Tucson High specific classes are geology and honors astronomy, which is both our junior and senior level classes. We have biotechnology, which is co-taught through our CTE department, and you can get U of A credit at the same time with that. We have physics from basic to honors, and actually 2 AP physics classes, one based in calculus and one based in algebra. And in biology, we have regular biology, honors, marine biology, plant sciences, AP biology, and Bio 160, which is a class that is run through Pima Community College as well. And it's an anatomy and physiology class that your student will get Pima credit for at the same time that they're taking classes at the U of A. And when we talk about activities, I like this little photo reel here. We have some students in, this looks like the garden that Mr. Bracamonte was talking about on the southwest side of school. Then we have the greenhouse that's on the roof. And next to the greenhouse, we have an observatory where a telescope can be fitted and we can look at stars at night. And more of the garden. And this is a picture of our magnet classes all receiving an award. And now I want to turn it over to a couple of our, or three of our teachers. I'm going to start with one of our freshman science teachers, Mr. V, who teaches the conceptual physics class. So, Mr. V, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Fleming. So I'm Mr. V. I teach conceptual physics at Tucson High. I'm in my second year, so I'm pretty new, but I do really like this school a lot. It's a very diverse school, lots of very interesting and awesome students. I've really enjoyed it so far, and I really enjoy teaching my freshman class. We go over basic physics first semester. Second semester, we do electricity, magnetism, and then light. So it's a really interesting class, and then it is a little higher level, so it does require Algebra 1 or STEM from 8th grade. So if you have any questions, please ask in the chat. That's all I have.
And thank you, Mr. V, for that. Next up, we have another one of our freshman teachers, and this is going to be Mr. Riseborough talking about the STEM class.
I'm muted. All right. The students would like to be able to do that to me. I teach freshmen, and I just teach freshmen. On November 15th, I'll have been in Tucson for 2 years and working at Tucson High. I taught back east in Massachusetts for, 20 years before this. And I've taught middle school and high school. The freshman STEM, well, first of all, I love teaching freshmen. You're going to find a lot of high school teachers that want to pull their hair out, but getting a bit older, I don't know whether I've developed wisdom or patience or both, but I found that freshmen come in thinking they know everything, and so much is learned behavior. So much is, how do you behave in a situation? How do you develop the discipline to do your work well? How do you know what to give a teacher? And all of this is learned. I mean, just as how to hit a curveball is a learned behavior. And I focus, and I believe the three of us who teach only freshman STEM really do focus and are very student-centered on helping them to mature, because the students are in high school now. The bar has been raised. What you got away with in middle school isn't going to fly here. And a lot of students take a dip for a semester because they're not used to where the bar is. But our goal is, as freshman STEM teachers, is to open up the expanse of our science classes to your children so they can take astronomy or marine biology or one of the electives or AP classes if they choose to go on to college. And so if they didn't get it in middle school, we're going to give it to them, and we're going to take it up from what a normal middle school STEM class is. And STEM class is chemistry in the first half of the year and physics in the second half of the, backwards. Physics first half of the year, chemistry the second half of the year. But you will find that we are going to care about your children, and this is one of the things that's department-wide, that's school-wide. They find that the kids find, they tell me they've got a baseball game, and I've ridden my bike over to Cherry Park to watch them. I go to the basketball games. One weekend, 2 years ago, I was at a Florentico, the talent show, and a play all on one weekend. And this is what we're about. And we're looking to help your children. And I think you'll find that school-wide. That sums it up for me.
Thank you, Mr. Riseborough. Last from the science department, we have Miss Marquez, who is going to talk about her advanced classes and after school program.
Hi, good evening. My name is Sheila Marcus, and I've been teaching at Tucson High for 16 years. Kind of blows my mind away. But we developed anatomy and physiology in the past 10 years, and it's grown and expanded. So now we actually have a Pima Community College credit for the students, so they don't have to take a test at the end like AP classes do, but they still need to have a C or better in the course to get their credit. But it saves them, and it doesn't cost them any money. And I teach the AP Bio, and that one for the university, U of A, that's worth a couple thousand, maybe $1,500 if they can get if they could get the 8 credit hours. It takes 2 semesters, so it covers the Bio 181 and 182 at the university. I also have the after school program, MESA, Mathematics, Engineering, Science Achievement. And right now I am Zooming with my students 2 days a week for an hour and a half, and we're just looking at all the different engineering things to build. There's science, the skyscraper, I call it the tower. So they're doing civil engineering, and then they're doing coding, because that's kind of like the easy thing to do for online competition. But they also have a disaster relief shelter that they are designing and going to compete with that in the spring. The University of Arizona is the one that we partner up with, and also GCU, Grand Canyon University. They have hosted some competitions. Let's see, my favorite part of Tucson High, I've been teaching there, is the Mesa Club after school. So it is wonderful to see the students motivated and coming in on their own time and participating in that. And then to hear back from the students. So I hear back from students who graduated as engineers all over the place. And that's really great. And for my experience teaching is I do love dissections. So in anatomy and physiology, when we were in school, we would do the frog dissection, and then there's a rat dissection. I have dissected in the past the cat, and we've also done a rabbit and a mink. So it's wonderful. I'm so over the shock level when the students, I kind of like, oh, it's so nice to see it through their eyes again, to go, oh, this is really bizarre for them. But I have lost kind of my sense of smell when it comes to dissection. I don't like, what do you mean you smell something? It's burning your nose? What? Nope, don't smell a thing. And those receptors are gone. And hopefully that'll be okay if I get the coronavirus, and then I've lost that sense of smell already. Yeah, I think my advice to new freshmen is math is very important. I would say it's the most important course. And then because if you do your math really well, that goes along with your fine arts. So if you're in music requires the numbers, dancing requires the numbers. If you get into that rhythm of counting something, there's just something about the connection between music and with the math, and just math in general getting into college. So very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Marquez. And with that, we're about out of time. But if you guys have any questions, you should be able to contact any of us through our links on the Tucson High webpage, and we can answer them for you.